Funding for this edition of State of Affairs with Steve Adubato has been provided by the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, moving the region through air, land, rail, and sea. The Durr Fund, supporting Reimagine Childcare. Community Food Bank of New Jersey. Eastern Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters. IBEW Local 102, lighting the path, leading the way. Holy Name. This place is different. Operating Engineers, Local 825. New Brunswick Development Corporation. And by TD Bank. Promotional support provided by bestofnj.com, all New Jersey in one place. And by northjersey.com and Local IQ, part of the USA Today network.
Welcome, everyone. Steve Adubato. We are joined by State Senator Patrick Diegnan, who is chair of the Senate Transportation Committee. Senator, great to have you with us.
Hey, Steve, great to be here.
When it comes to traffic fatalities in our state, what is happening? Why are there more, and what are we doing?
It is literally frightening. In the afternoon, Steve, I will walk with my grandkids, and sometimes they're on their bikes, sometimes they're not. People flying by at 40 miles an hour. You just sometimes wonder if people are even paying attention. Stop signs have become advisory rather than obligatory. I'm sure you see the same thing. Try and get out onto a main highway or main roadway. People speed up. I simply don't know what's going on. But then, it's a flip side too. Kids riding their bikes are on the wrong side of the road. They're not stopping at stop signs. They're not putting out signals. It's really something that we have to get a handle on because they're exploding. And the number, I am surprised, Steve, there aren't more when I just literally walk around my neighborhood. And I'm talking about, I'm not on a main road. I'm in a residential area. I was talking to somebody recently about this. Maybe, especially in suburban areas, maybe the tradition of waving sidewalks should no longer be an option for towns when you go before the planning board. I think sidewalks are more than ever needed. Maybe even the width of our roadways. We now have 30 feet dedicated roadway. Maybe we should make it 40 to put in an extra lane for those that walk or ride bicycles. We really have to get a handle on it because it's real. It's scary.
Senator, what is the Vision Zero task force, and how does it relate to what we're talking about?
That is exactly, that's exactly what we're talking about. It's not yet law. It's going through the legislature. It's going to be 9 members from all of the relevant, state police, the transportation, et cetera, to be appointed by the governor, as usual, Senate president, and the assembly speaker to basically examine this and come up with. See, the thing, Steve, about New Jersey is, it's such a different state. I mean, the issues in Cape May are much different than the issues in Newark when it comes to traffic safety. So we got to get people from all over the state at the table to give their suggestions and observations.
Senator,
that's what the task force is all about, to basically bring folks together into one room at one time and try and come up with some solutions.
But Senator, by way of background, it's not just transportation that you're heavily involved in. You're the former chair of a legislative committee dealing with education. You're also deeply concerned about autism. What is the initiative? What is the legislation you have proposed that has to do with helping those who are on the autism spectrum?
Well, again, hand in hand with what we're talking about, transportation. So many folks, I'll give you a case. I was over at JFK Hospital the other day, and they have a bus that comes in the morning where workers that have cognitive problems, most of which were suffering from autism, are transported to the hospital. Well, that's great. God bless them. I know the ShopRite does that, and some other employers do that. But how about employers that would welcome giving that opportunity, but those that are experiencing the challenge don't have the transportation. Access link, which I've learned, really is very, very limited. It only comes from transportation hubs and it only goes out a mile. So this is something that we really, transportation is an essential way to give people opportunity. And that's the main focus of what I'm trying to pursue, and especially being chair of transportation gives me that opportunity.
Can I get real quick, before I move to issues of behavioral and mental health, real quick, congestion pricing, the message you want to deliver around congestion pricing is?
Crazy. I mean, we don't need, one thing that I have to say with Governor Hochul and Governor Murphy, they've actually made peace. They're working together. We don't need a war. Obviously, we want to encourage people, mass transportation. We don't need a war between New York and New Jersey. And that's what that is. That's really throwing down the mantle, and we don't need that.
Okay, let's talk behavioral and mental health. What needs to be done from your perspective on the state level in terms of legislation, regulatory changes, policy, public policy? What needs to be done, Senator, as it relates to helping those and their family members dealing with mental behavioral health issues? And the numbers, I shouldn't say numbers because numbers represent people. The number of people struggling and dealing with these issues is just grown exponentially.
It's awful. I happened to have the pleasure of being over in Highland Park the other day, and at the high school, they actually have a room set aside for kids that if they're suffering from stress or anxiety, suicidal, a parent that's addicted or whatever, they have a psychologist at the high school all day long for those kids to go in, sit down, talk with the psychologist, and give them the support they need. I know the governor is now talking about having regional facilities. I'm from Missouri on that one. I think we really have to have it in each school, but it's access. Have you ever read the book, Steve? It's one of my favorites. It's on the bestsellers list. The Body Keeps the Score. I recommend everybody do that. And it basically, what is it again, Senator? The body keeps the score. It's on the bestsellers list. And really how trauma that is buried in your brain. You know, you could have an addictive parent. You could have suffered from abuse. You could have a trauma in your life. Folks that obviously come from other countries and deal with the state challenges they have. There's no one size that fits all. And the most important thing is to listen, not medicate, not prescribe, but listen to these young people, find out what their problem is and give them the proper support. But it's a real challenge.
Yeah, and as the senator is talking about that, ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, strikes me. If you look at our programming, you'll see past efforts to look at that. Let me ask you this, Senator, as it relates to childcare, we have an initiative called Reimagine Childcare. The graphic is up right now, actually creating greater public awareness around the importance of affordable, accessible, quality childcare. The connection between affordable, accessible, and quality childcare and the New Jersey economy is?
It's unbelievable. I mean, how a person is suffering in the lower end of the income scale can avail themselves to the limited resources we have. It's impossible. And the thing is, we're kicking the can down the road. Deal with these issues. Give people the support they need. Somebody told me, Stephen, you might know, there's only something like 500 and some odd child psychiatrists outside of hospitals in the state of New Jersey. Does that sound same number? Does that number seem right?
I don't know the number, but I know it's not clearly enough.
It's incredible. It's incredible. And then when you have folks that don't have, good insurance and may have language barriers, et cetera, that's what we really have to sit at the table. And that's what I hope this task force can do. Sit down, deal with the issues, and make the support available that we need. It's hard, Senator. It's absolutely
it is. And I promise they'll be doing more programming. And on the issue of childcare, if you will, we'll be having State Senator Teresa Ruiz, who has introduced a package of legislation in that regard. Final word, Senator, do you want to say something about the importance of childcare, please?
Can there be anything more important? I mean, they're our future. There are the thing we celebrate the most. Let's give them the support they need.
That's State Senator Patrick Diegnan, the chair of the Transportation Committee in the Senate, on a whole range of issues. Thank you, Senator. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve. Keep up the good work.
More importantly to you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
To see more State of Affairs with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at stateofaffairsnj.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD. And follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
Hundreds of thousands of people in New Jersey face hunger.
Now, more than ever.
Together with our 800-plus agency partners.
Now, more than ever.
The Community Food Bank of New Jersey is fighting hunger.
Now, more than ever.
This holiday season, in a time when the need is so great. You can help our hungry neighbors by going to cfbnj.org to donate now.
Did you know that you can save money while saving the environment? New Jersey's Clean Energy Program offers incentives, programs, and services that benefit New Jersey residents and businesses, as well as educational, government, and nonprofit entities, helping us save money, energy, and the environment. Learn more at njcleanenergy.com or call 866-NJ-SMART. New Jersey's Clean Energy Program, lighting the way to a clean energy future.
We're now joined by State Senator Edward Durr from the 3rd Legislative District. Senator, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Steve.
We'll let everyone know that Senator, your district is in the southernmost part of the state, correct?
The southern western part. I have parts of Gloucester County, all of Salem County, and parts of Cumberland County.
And Senator Durr was not a senator when he beat the president of the Senate, Steve Sweeney, a historic election, not just in New Jersey, but across this country, and for a lot of reasons. Senator, there's a whole range of issues I want to talk to you about. But the first thing is I just want to get a couple of things. I don't even want to say out of the way because they are so important. We do a series called Democracy at a Crossroads. The graphic will be up right now. Election denying or deniers are a big part of this conversation. Election security, integrity is important. Question, do you believe that the 2020 election that former President Trump says was stolen was, quote, stolen?
I don't look at, first off, I'm a person who always looks forward. So what took place in 2020 doesn't matter to today because you can't change it. For me, it doesn't because I do believe that there was election laws that were changed throughout certain states like Pennsylvania, Arizona, Michigan, that weren't done properly by the legislature. I think that is something that needs to be addressed. It doesn't really matter because on January 20th, Joe Biden was sworn in as the president, and that is all that matters. He is our president. He's my president. He's your president. And what President Trump wants to claim or doesn't claim, that doesn't matter for today because I'm moving forward. I agree with election integrity. I do believe there should be voter ID.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. That's an important point, Senator. But I want to be clear, there are some who may disagree that the history does matter. Looking backwards to learn to move forward is important, particularly for our representative democracy. That being said, Senator, you said in the past that January 6th, which some would argue is an important date in history, was, quote, not an insurrection, but an unauthorized entry by undocumented federal employers. Since then, that social media comment was taken down. Do you believe January 6th, and some will argue it does matter, do you believe January 6th was in fact a violent insurrection to try to overthrow and stop?
No, I do not believe it was a violent insurrection. I believe it was a group of people that got out of hand and violated the law. I disagree with any of the people who entered the White House or, the Capitol building. I don't agree that that should have taken place. Should they have had the right to protest? Absolutely. That's what our country is founded on, and we guarantee the right of protest. But what they did by entering the Capitol, no, that was absolutely wrong. Was it a violent insurrection? No,
it was not.
The only armed person was the officer who shot an unarmed woman. That was the only person who was armed with a firearm. There was no individuals in that crowd that I know of that you can correct me if you can prove. But what I have seen of evidence, nobody was carrying firearms to the White House. That is, to me, would be a violent insurrection.
So listen, Senator, as you just described, there was no violence. Guns are a weapon. So
No, I
is
didn't
a
say there was
flat-
no violence. You said was it a violent insurrection? I don't believe it was an insurrection. Was
Were
there?
were police officers, the Capitol Police, were they beaten and attacked by many of the protesters who were there that day?
I wouldn't say many. I would say there's probably incidents that took place. Absolutely. When you say many, that is saying a majority. I wouldn't say many. I would say that there was individuals that absolutely were wrong and violated the law.
Sure.
And they should be
Last question on
prosecuted.
this. Were they attempted? Do you believe that a significant number of those who were there protesting on January 6th were there to, quote, stop the election process, which is many of them stated, to stop the election process and to deny the election moving forward for Joe Biden to become president? Do you believe that?
I can't speak. I think they were voicing their anger with the election process that took place. And as far as what their purpose and goal was, I can't speak for their mind. I wasn't there. Didn't take part in it. I didn't talk to the individuals, so I can't.
You would not have been there, Senator. You would not have been there.
No, I would not have been there.
Senator, do this for us. You've talked about critical race theory, and you've introduced legislation to what? Ban the teaching of critical race theory? And if not, help us understand what your legislation is, sir.
I think that any teachings that is saying that, one race is inferior or wrong or evil is wrong to be teaching that upon children. And that's what critical race theory does. It makes white people out to be evil. I don't believe that white people, is there evil white people? Absolutely. Is there evil in all races? Absolutely. But to teach one race is evil? No, that is wrong.
Do you believe that there is, in fact, today, structural and persistent racism in our state and our society?
No. Is there racism? Yes. Is it systemic? No.
What's the difference?
Well, that would be, as you said, structural. You would have to show me where, like back in the past when there was, a structural where they were deliberately preventing, Black families from, renting in certain communities or something.
Redlining.
Or buying homes.
Redlining.
Yes. That was absolutely. Does that take place today? I don't see it. I'd be happy if you can show it to me. I will be the first one to fight it because I don't believe that there should be racism. I don't believe there should be discrimination.
So I just want to be clear on this. So you believe that creating greater public awareness for our students, for our public school students, about the history of racism in our country is, in fact, not the role of public education?
No, that's not what I said. I have not said that there absolutely should be an awareness, but to teach, to force one narrative is wrong.
What's the one narrative?
That white people are evil and they're the cause of all problems.
I want to be clear. You are stating that you believe that critical race theory states that, quote, all white people are bad.
What I have read of it, yes.
Okay.
That it slants it.
Okay, folks, let's make sure we put up the Department of Education website so that people can understand exactly what critical race theory is and is not. Senator, let me ask you this. Your top two legislative priorities in the Senate are?
I think my top two right now would probably be medical freedom, health choices. And I really have been fighting for, as far as it's hard to say two because
What's the Billy Cray bill? I'm sorry for interrupting, Senator. What's the Billy Cray bill? I apologize.
Billy Cray is a special needs individual who was, found dead in his closet. Nobody can tell me how it took place. He was beaten severely. He was found dead in his closet back in 2017. He was in a group home. And the Billy Cray bill, what it advocates is for electronic monitoring, video cameras in common areas, which we already have in many places. So I don't see the problem with this. And it allows for, if the guardian wants it in the room, to have it installed in the room. It seems like I have bipartisan support on both sides. I have the votes. I just can't get the bill moved in the committee.
And P.S., what committee is that in, Senator?
Health Committee.
that is chaired by Senator Joseph Vitale.
Yes.
Senator Durr, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. We wish you, your family, and all of your constituents in the 3rd District the best. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you very much. Have a happy Thanksgiving, too.
We're taping right before Thanksgiving. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
To see more State of Affairs with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at stateofaffairsnj.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato PhD and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
Hundreds of thousands of people in New Jersey face hunger.
Now, more than ever.
Together with our 800-plus agency partners,
Now, more than ever.
the Community Food Bank of New Jersey is fighting hunger
Now, more than ever.
this holiday season in a time when the need is so great. You can help our hungry neighbors by going to cfbnj.org to donate now.
Did you know that you can save money while saving the environment? New Jersey's Clean Energy Program offers incentives, programs, and services that benefit New Jersey residents and businesses, as well as educational, government, and nonprofit entities, helping us save money, energy, and the environment. Learn more at njcleanenergy.com or call 866-NJ-SMART. New Jersey's Clean Energy Program, lighting the way to a clean energy future.
We're joined once again by our longtime friend and colleague in the media, Max Pizarro, editor of InsiderNJ.com. Check out their website. Good to see you, Max.
Great to see you, Steve.
All right, Max, look, we're doing this right before Thanksgiving. Midterm elections just happened. Biggest takeaway for you from that is?
Well, I think that there are a few takeaways. I think that nationally, Donald Trump's MAGA candidates did very poorly. The election deniers did not have their great red wave triumph. And I think that's a significant opportunity. Moreover, and this has particular relevance in New Jersey, Steve, Democrats won with the abortion issue. And when we look at the legislature, which is going into session 2 more times this year, they are, as we speak, considering a constitutional amendment. This would go on the ballot so that next year, all 120 lawmakers would run with a constitutional ballot question that would enshrine abortion as a right in New Jersey. So those are the 2 takeaways. Bad for MAGA candidates, and Democrats believe that abortion is a winning issue.
Well, let's do this. In PS, check out our media colleagues, InsiderNJ.com, Max and Pete and the team down there. They do a great job. Find out what's going on in politics in the state. But Max, connect what you just said back to New Jersey politics. And here's what I mean. Governor Murphy wins a narrow election in 2021. But you also have Republicans, and Murphy may be thinking about running for president. Who knows? We see what President Biden does. Here's why I'm asking this. Governor Christie has been very critical of President Trump. Former President Trump. Tom Kean, new congressman. Jack Ciattarelli, Republican, likely to run for governor again. Do you think more Republicans in the state of New Jersey are going to be openly critical of former President Trump, given the midterm results?
Steve, I do. I think that there's a real opportunity there for them to do that. Obviously, they're going to want to pay attention to their base, but they don't want to pay attention too much. They got to be leaders now. Okay, I think you wrote a book about leadership, Steve. Some of these guys ought to read it. Because candidly, there is now a real motivation for them to become those leaders they purport to be. To your question about these specific guys, Kean has been quiet. Now, he's avoided the media. And you know that better than anyone.
How the heck do you win a congressional seat? And everyone knows who watches us. We tried to get the former state senator to appear with us. Tom Malinowski, who lost that race, appeared. Kean did not. How the heck do you win a congressional race? You don't debate, you don't do public appearances, but he won. Was it just the district and the way it was redistricted, Max?
Steve, you make friends with Democrats who win the map and give up Tom Malinowski as the sacrificial lamb, which gave the seat to Kean. So there were 17,000 more registered Republicans in that finished district, and Kean just believed he didn't need a campaign, and guess what? He was right. So Kean has said nothing, so we don't know what he's about or where he is. Christie was obviously with Trump at the outset, standing on a stage, very much a validator, and had to really navigate an extraordinary drama to get back to this point where he's a critic. Ciattarelli was a critic from the beginning, But in the aftermath of the Republican, I know, in the aftermath, you're right, and particularly in the aftermath of the Republican primary, he tacked back, and said some pro-Trump things. So they've been a little bit all over the map, Steve.
But
I think the opportunity is there.
I'm sorry for interrupting, Max.
Not at all.
The election matters, midterm elections matter, but for some, January 6th matters so much. And right before Max, we had Senator Durr, he Republican down South Jersey, who beat Senate President Steve Sweeney. You can see what he said about January 6th. But here's my question. Do you think January 6th and the role of former President Trump dramatically changes the view of most mainstream Republicans about the former president?
I think that is and ought are two different things. And I think that politicians are trained to be very cautious by nature and to look for signs. And oftentimes they follow signs that are the most glaring and the most garish, but not necessarily those that are correct. And so I think it should be, Steve, it should be for every American in this country who cares about our republic. I'm not sure that it's sunk in quite yet, but God knows it should, particularly after the results of the last election.
Max, let me ask you this. There are many, and I don't like when people say there are many, but there are many who do question President Biden's ability to do what needs to be done, not just the rest of this term, but running again. People can judge for themselves whether they think there are cognitive issues or not. The missteps go on YouTube. That being said, we all make mistakes, but there's a question of preponderance of them. A, do you believe the president will run for re-election? B, if he does not, do you believe Governor Murphy will be a candidate for the presidency?
Steve, I don't believe that Joe Biden will be a candidate for president. I believe that Phil Murphy has put himself into the national conversation and wants something out of that discussion. He would certainly prefer a president, but depending on the politics, he may settle for vice president or he may get a cabinet position. But certainly winning re-election in New Jersey, he is in position to negotiate for something. That's what he wants.
And dare I ask you, one of the most popular public figures, based on most polls in the state, Senator Cory Booker, ran for president in the past. Do you think he's got another run in him?
Well, I think he's going to have to get coordinated with Governor Murphy. Remember, they share staff members. And I suspect George Helmy was the
yes. They both can't run, right, Max? They both can't run.
I don't think so, Steve. I don't think they can both run out of New Jersey. It's going to have to be one or the other. It may be Murphy's turn, but again, we'll see. We'll see what the lay of the land is.
Max Pizarro, again, knows politics in this state, been studying it, writing about it. And Max, plug your book again.
Bosses Don't Get Kneecapped.
Love the title. That's Max Pizarro, editor of InsiderNJ.com. To you and Pete and the team down at Insider. Thanks, Max.
Steve.
Talk soon, my friend.
Privilege, sir. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
That's Max. I'm Steve. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, the Turrell Fund, supporting Reimagine Childcare, Community Food Bank of New Jersey, Eastern Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters, IBEW Local 102, Holy Name, Operating Engineers Local 825, New Brunswick Development Corporation, TD Bank, and by these public-spirited organizations, individuals, and associations committed to informing New Jersey citizens about the important issues facing the Garden State. And by Employers Association of New Jersey. Promotional support provided by bestofnj.com and by northjersey.com and Local IQ, part of the USA Today network. To watch more State of Affairs with Steve Adubato, find us online and follow us on social media.
Hundreds of thousands of people in New Jersey face hunger.
Now, more than ever.
Together with our 800-plus agency partners.
Now, more than ever.
The Community Food Bank of New Jersey is fighting hunger.
Now, more than ever.
This holiday season, in a time when the need is so great. You can help our hungry neighbors by going to cfbnj.org to donate now.
Did you know that you can save money while saving the environment? New Jersey's Clean Energy Program offers incentives, programs, and services that benefit New Jersey residents and businesses, as well as educational, government, and nonprofit entities. helping us save money, energy, and the environment. Learn more at njcleanenergy.com or call 866-NJ-SMART. New Jersey's clean energy program, lighting the way to a clean energy future.